Good. All right. Welcome. City Council work session order at 6:08. And today's work session, I'm not going to pledge allegiance. Let's see. So first thing we're going to do is, so we're going to be looking at the City of North Plains umbrella policy for advisory boards handbook proposal. Councilor Redding, Councilor Hagedorn, and at a later time, Councilor Weber worked on this. So I'm going to suggest we'll go through the PowerPoint and do you want to take questions in line or wait till the end?
It's got a spot.
Oh, okay. So I will turn it over to Councilor Redding because we're very hard on this and we're very grateful. It's a pretty cool looking. All right, sorry, all you.
Councilor Redding here. First I want to thank Dawn and Mandy for all their help. This is a big chunk we took on in hindsight, but hopefully we all like it and we can move forward tonight. I am going to read fast so that we can have more time to discuss. So hopefully that's okay. Good evening. Tonight we are reviewing the City of North Plains umbrella policy for advisory bodies, which provides guidance for our committees, boards, and commissions. This handbook consolidates practices from other Oregon cities, including Hillsborough, Oregon City, Forest Grove, Banks, Milwaukee, and more, and aligns with state law and our city charter and codes. Our goal is to create a consolidated guidance framework for clarity, consistency, and support for both volunteers and the council. Did we get the packets for everybody?
Which packet? I have it. You mean the?
I wanted them printed out so we could all write it.
Oh, I have.
Oh.
I have a PDF. I have a hard copy. I'm okay.
Oh, yeah, we
I
don't normally print out 75-page packets for everybody. I'm sorry, I don't know if it was on the weekend,
No, that's okay.
don't
That's okay.
necessarily.
We're good.
Mandy, can I then ask that you take good notes on that hard copy?
You got it.
Thank you. So slide 2, please. The umbrella policy is essentially our governance playbook. It expresses intent, expectations, and standards for advisory bodies. Over time, practices across committees, boards, and commissions have varied. So this policy establishes a consistent framework. It clarifies conduct, decorum, communication, and process. Importantly, while it guides behavior and operations, it is not law. That's the role of city code. Think of this as the internal guidance we use to make our advisory bodies function effectively. Slide 3, please. City code versus umbrella code. Okay.
That's what I have is 3 in.
Perfect. Okay, let's clarify the difference between the policy and city code. Umbrella policies are governance frameworks adopted by resolution, flexible, and designed to support training, onboarding, and accountability. City code, on the other hand, is legally enforceable, adopted by ordinance, and binding on both the public and the government. In short, the policy is our playbook, and the code is our law book. Slide 4, please. How they work together. Umbrella policies and code complement each other. The policy provides operational clarity for staff and advisory bodies, ensuring consistency across all groups. It doesn't override the charter or code, but it fills gaps where code is too rigid. Council can adopt, update, or refine policies quickly to reflect evolving expectations without rewriting code. Essentially, the hierarchy looks like this: charter, code, umbrella policy, bylaws, procedures. Slide 5, please. Strategic intent. The strategic intent of this policy is to clarify roles and expectations, ensure consistent recruitment and governance, support compliance with Oregon public meetings and records law, strengthen communication, and preserve council decision-making authority while encouraging meaningful community participation. This framework benefits volunteers, staff, and the council by providing clarity, consistency, and accountability. Next, please. Types of advisory bodies. We have 3 types of advisory bodies. First, committees. They assist the council, provide recommendations, but have no independent authority. Second are boards. They oversee city programs and may have limited administrative authority. Third, commissions. They advise the council on policy, planning, or other public interests and may have quasi-judicial duties in some cases. Understanding these distinctions is crucial for proper governance and avoiding overlap. Slide 7. Roles and relationships. Advisory bodies develop recommendations within their scope. The council evaluates those recommendations in the context of all city goals. Staff liaisons facilitate placement of reports on the agenda. Committees allow detailed analysis that the council may not have time to perform. It's important to remember the advisory bodies cannot override council authority. Their role is to provide expertise and insight to support decision-making. Slide 8, please. Council oversight and expectations. The council appoints members, defines their scope and authority, and ultimately decides on all recommendations. Guidance may be provided during work sessions if an advisory body requires the direction. Council also sets expectations for attendance, ethics, and conduct that can be more defined in bylaws. This oversight ensures that advisory bodies operate consistently, legally, and in alignment with city priorities. One purpose of the umbrella policy is simply to make these relationships and expectations clearer and more consistent across advisory bodies. Slide 9, please. Expectations for advisory body members. Members are expected to actively participate, attend meetings, prepare for discussions, and follow bylaws, ethics policies, and city procedures. Recommendations must go through approved channels. Clear expectations help members succeed and maintain council confidence. This aligns with the policy's goal of providing clear guidance while supporting volunteer engagement. It also aligns with umbrella policy's intent and governance standards. Slide 10, please. So here we are for the feedback and discussion part of this evening. Tonight we are seeking council guidance on several points. Do you agree with the proposed umbrella framework? Does it align with council expectations of advisory bodies? Are the roles of advisory bodies, council, and staff clearly defined? Are member expectations reasonable and appropriate? Are there potential conflicts with existing charter, code, or council practices? Is the staff liaison and communication framework sufficient? We are focusing on policy direction, not the exact wording. Staff can incorporate revisions after this discussion. And I want to encourage input on alignment, clarity, and operational practicality. Aaron, do you want to take over the?
Yes, so,
Perfect.
all right. Nope. All right, so let's start with number 1. Has everybody hopefully read this? And is everybody kind of mostly in line with the direction, not necessarily the.
Is your mic on, Leader? There it is.
Oh, sorry, I gotta speak into it, my fault, thank you. Okay, so let's start with. Is everyone in agreement with the framework? Not necessarily, there are wording changes perhaps, but is everyone in agreement with the framework? Me?
Ask that question. Is this the appropriate, one of the things that I'm interested in is council oversight on new appointments. Is that within the scope of this document?
No, because that was already decided by previous resolution or previous staff instruction.
So that's out of scope.
Yes,
Thank you.
but if you'd like to bring it up during council comments, we can discuss that.
Well, I think there's a section in there under that says you can't just re-elect someone. It needs to be opened up to the public. It's in there.
What page?
Yeah.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Let me go. I'm gonna go for
No, you're right. It
section
is
10.
70.
That's why we have the authors here.
Yeah, and it's actually highlighted as a review point.
Section 10.
Yeah, I saw that section. I guess my takeaway was, I didn't see that this document talked about council review and approval of appointments. And maybe I missed it, or maybe it's out of scope, but I just wanted, because I did see some language around appointments, and I guess I was confused about why that would be left out.
Katie, what page should we? be looking
I'm looking at right under page 9, recruitment and selection. It's broken up a bit here. The version of
at? Thank you.
It does not explicitly state, it was one of the versions, it looks like it took, we took it out. But I think, it can easily be added in.
It's a question of, does it go into this or does it? I don't know.
I just want.
What's your input? What's
Yeah,
your opinion on
clear,
that?
common understanding, but,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
um,
What's your recommendation? This is what we're getting at.
I recommend that we include language that all appointments are subject to review and approval by the council.
Any objections?
No.
Councilor David? Certainly. Councilor Warren, okay, so let's add that. Let's explicitly, we'll spell it out. We will put it together.
Do that one time. I'm just sorry.
Oh, sorry, yes.
All committee appointments, committee and commission appointments are subject to review and approval of the council.
And Councilor Hickman, we can pull that. There was actually a staff report, I want to say in October from the city manager, if I'm right, October, November, where he brought that up and council made a decision. We can probably use the same similar language, so that way we aren't duplicating effort. And then we'll just put it into this document, so it's solidified or policyfied.
I like it. Okay.
That does make, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're just trying to provide more clarity is what you're saying. Okay, that's fair. Yeah, clarity is good. Okay, so moving on then, does everybody think that the role is of council advisory body staff is clear? And I do have one, but I'll leave it to everyone else first. So here's what I called out. And you can feel free to disagree, but there's a portion where it says, and I should have written down page numbers, I'm sorry. It says, department head and city manager review from an they'll have an administrative review. Let's see if I can find this one. I think it's when there's a complaint or something. And I wanted to discuss that. Find it. So.
I think it's page 7.
Thank you. I was getting there. I was almost there. Okay, so. See, that's attendance.
In process considerations, page 17, middle.
Thank you.
Is that true?
I think so. Let me look.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, and again, this is just me thinking when I was reading through this, I don't know that we want the department head and city manager to do administrative reviews. I think that would be an advisor to the chair or this council, but and Bill, I might help if you weigh in on this one. I was unclear on if we wanted to put you and staff in the middle of disputes between board members, or if that's something that council should probably handle. I don't know. I'm open to it. I just wanted to call it out and discuss it a little bit. And I thought maybe you would have some insight since you're being called out as the one who wanted to deal with it.
My own personal view is based on my understanding of code and its charter provisions apply to it. Council or residents, boards and commissions, are residents and non-residents allowed to be on the committees? It's the community. So I don't know that staff needs to get involved in officiating, but staff can't, but if you want to name the city manager as who a board or commission can call upon to help facilitate something with city council on a matter. But I don't think a staff person should get involved in, kind of community people matters.
Adjudicating things, yeah. That was what I was thinking, so I just kind of wanted to get council to weigh in on that. I just don't want to put, we want to make sure that we differentiate between policy decisions and policy
Staff or,
enforcement.
yeah,
If that makes sense. Trying to make this make sense, but it's kind of fuzzy still.
no, it makes sense. Repeat that one more time.
So, thank you. I'm trying to make the differentiation between council makes policy and adjudicates disagreements between boards and commissions, if there's a, not disciplinary, but a grievance, whatever you want to call it, versus staff goes out and executes the policies that the council makes.
Yeah,
That's my understanding of the rule, but I also wanted everybody to kind of think about that for a minute and weigh in.
which section will be potentially changed?
Page
Get there.
Seven.
17. I think it says,
Process. Page 17,
oh, no, 14, that's what.
or page 20 of the packet, that's page 17 of the.
I got you. So under due process, it says. The member shall be provided a reasonable opportunity to respond to orally in writing as firm development.
Maybe no.
Where was the other one? I'm sorry, I read through this and I didn't put page numbers. I don't think I did. I'll find it and I will email it to you all, but
The purpose and authority,
possibly.
handling misconduct, page 16. It's in yellow. Because Counselor Redding anticipated this.
I tried to do everything to not put this on staff shoulders, so
No, you're good.
I'm really hoping.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
whenever I find this, that was my thought was I didn't want staff to get burdened with something that wasn't really a staff function. That was my goal can advise the council on this, but the council should be the one that takes the heat for it, is what I'm getting at.
So your, Counselor Reddy here, so your, handling alleged misconduct would be the initial informal contact, the vice chair contact, and then it would refer to the appointing authority.
Yes, sorry, so if you remove sections 3 and 4 on page 17 of the document, that was my suggestion, that was just because I felt
Yeah.
like that puts staff in an unwinnable position. I'm trying to protect them so they can be not partisan, but
Biased.
non-biased, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the word. I don't know, that's how I saw it, but anyway.
Mayor Dunbar, okay, toss it.
Please, please.
So. The referral to appointment authority, that sounds good. I guess I view you as our HR department. Because
We're in
so,
trouble.
yeah, but, so right now it says to, city council. So if I were head of a board, do I check, can I select one individual counselor? Do I need to communicate with all of you guys? Or would it have been easier just to say, contact the mayor?
I would like to defer to Councilor Pavin for a moment for some historical wisdom. I don't know if this has ever been a problem, but I'm trying to anticipate what could have been a problem. How did council handle this in the past if they ever did?
This is Counselor Papen. My memory serves me correctly. I have yet to encounter a specific scenario that's come up aside from a board member not attending, which was covered under the bylaws. And then that was the only thing that serves my memory. So I don't, and again, maybe Lori or Bill have more precedent, they can share, but I don't remember a specific scenario that has come before this body.
The vast majority of what I remember is just the same thing, Counselor Pavin, and that is just ghosting the committee and not knowing what to do. Wait, are they gonna, I thought they were, just it keeps going and going, and there's never just kind of a trigger point. 2 absences warning, 3rd, you can be gone sort of thing.
So I think based off of that, since it's probably a very rare thing anyway, I would like to leave this council because I think this is something that would be big enough that I would not want to make a decision as mayor, and I wouldn't want to leave that to the next mayor. To have to make that decision without council because some of these matters could be contentious. I think that this is part of council's job. I mean, obviously, in the event of a tie, I'm gonna have to break that tie. But I think it's good for these things to come before the whole council. But if council disagrees, I'm open to it. I just feel like if we're going to take an administrative action, like removing somebody from a board, in my opinion, that's fairly extreme, and I don't want there ever to be one person making a decision like that, just because that can create personality conflicts. And I don't ever want anybody to think that anything that we do up here is personal, because it shouldn't be, in my opinion. So I feel like it's better for all of us to work together. So that would be my suggestion, but it's up to you all. I was just saying, if we pull out 3 and 4, it protects staff, and it also makes the electeds perform their function, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to separate the 2 roles as much as I can, so that way it's clear who's doing what.
I agree.
I like it.
Mayor, if I
Oh,
might,
please.
always keep in mind, section 14 of the charter. and that is the express approval of a majority of a quorum of the council is necessary for any council decision, except for when this charter requires approval by a majority of the council. So I think you all are going to want to have legal review of this, of course. But I think anytime you have any individual on council, including the mayor, making a final decision without council consultation and approval, I think you might run into problems.
That's why we have staff advising. That makes sense. I knew there had to be a reason. It just didn't come to me. So that's perfect. Thank you.
So,
Okay.
question, Councilor
Please.
Warrington, if you were removing 3 and 4, then would 5 then be somehow rewritten to?
Yes. Yeah, I already have it.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good call. Yeah. Actually, I will ask on 2, since we're going down this path. Why vice chair and not chair? And I'm just asking why, because I want to
The
understand.
chair is the initial.
Oh, sorry, you're right, sorry.
I can change.
I know, no, I read that and I caught it in the moment and I
That's
just looked
good.
again and I missed it, so that's a good point, okay. Perfect. Okay, so we're kind of good on roles, we got a couple edits. What about expectation? Are member expectations reasonable and appropriate? So is there any questions on expectations of members of boards and commissions?
And that kind of falls on page 15 of the agenda of 73. It's page 12 of the document.
Yes.
Committee member responsibilities, kind of there.
Because all this does, in my understanding, Mr. Mayor, this is just standardizing. I mean, this is basically what the boards and commissions do, but this is just giving them a standard, like you inherit these duties, then you can add to them, but you can't take away from them, just like we do with laws. Okay,
Their bylaws can be stricter than what we have in place.
yes, that's,
This is a base foundation or an umbrella, whichever top, bottom you want to think about.
Started.
The starting point for them to then tighten their belts more. Less is-
okay, any comments? We think this is reasonable?
No grievances here.
Are there any conflicts with charter, code, or council practices?
I did run this through ChatGPT, so there can be error, but I did ask it to compare it to the
And-
municipal charter and city code.
And to Bill's point, this does need to go to the attorney, but did anybody catch anything? I'm trying to look through my notes. I don't think I caught anything. But I had a couple of clerical things that I suggest, but I didn't know.
If I might relay a request, well, it's from me, but Emily agrees. And that is that when the time comes for her to review all this, it's a lot. So if you want in your conversation to highlight, particularly with this question, particular things for her to focus on in her review, please do. So rather than just handing over everything,
Yeah,
that might help focus.
that's true. So I actually have one on this. Should put page numbers down. I have a note, are term lengths and limits established by ordinance or resolution? Because I think you called it one and I was questioning which one it was. I couldn't determine. It's in, I believe it's on page 10 of the packet ones.
Page what?
10 of the packet.
Yeah, there's term limits
Or
there
15.
under reappointment.
Yes, so term limits are established by ordinance or resolution. Oh, so I'll say that was my question. Which one is it? My opinion, again, for what it's worth, my opinion was we should probably determine that and then have the city manager verify that, sorry, city attorney verify that. And then just pick one, because I think it is by ordinance. Because an ordinance is thank you, okay, yes, by ordinance, because an ordinance is a legislative action that we do. A resolution is something we just say yay or nay or whatever, so
It's nowhere to.
that was my thought, but again, I'm just saying. Does that make sense to everybody?
Point.
Right.
Katie had a comment. She was about to say something.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's in red for a reason.
Okay,
It's so like, I was also trying, because this document is so big, I don't want to overwhelm a new committee or advisory body
Yes.
member. And so do we like what I wrote for reappointment, you know, 3, 4 sentences, or would we just like to put in term lengths and limits are established by ordinance and summarized in Appendix A? So that's just, you know, or do we like establishing term limits? It's kind of the big one for us. That is not, I don't think, anywhere. I think there's one group that has term limits. Don can.
Repeat what you said, Counselor?
I think there's only one group, there's only one advisory body that has term limits written into their bylaws. Yes, Don was my right hand on that. So that's why the term limits are here under reappointment. Is that something as a council we want to take up and establish an umbrella for?
What's the downside to term limits?
I think you could not have an empty chair for that 1 year gap.
What else?
Somebody stays forever.
If we don't have them.
If there's no term limit, they will never leave, maybe. Yeah,
No, you're right.
Counselor Weber, I mean, I think historically, it was hard to get people on things, so there weren't term limits because there weren't 5 applicants every time, there was 1, so they let people stay.
Counselor Pippen, I think the other downside or con to consider is, you know, if we get to a point with term limits, that we could get to a point where an entire board is fresh, and that's not always a bad thing. But you have to think about the momentum that maybe the previous board started, and can the new board, again, continue that momentum, because there's a learning curve to all of our boards and commissions. And I know that we have staggered terms, but again, I think sometimes having that experience and that tenure can help drive the momentum and create that vision for our boards and commissions.
So I put in there, individuals who have served the maximum 2 terms or 3, whatever we decide, must wait 1 year, or we could say 2, before they can reapply for a position on the same committee. So we would potentially only lose them for the 1 or 2 years, whatever we depend or decide on, as a safety net for Councilor Pickens' concern.
I'd support term limits.
Counselor Weber, I don't know if we'd want to, before we finalize this, verify if we pick 2 terms or 3 terms, how many people are we affecting? How many are we telling are done? You know, because if you, you know, like to Counselor Pippin's point, if we got rid of all the veterans and then had to replace them with brand new, could we find enough good people? You know, again, I want to make sure if we do this, I'm in favor of, I'd be fine if we said 3 terms. You know, I don't want to feel like we're punishing some really good people who've served a long time. We're just trying to have some common sense to it.
Go ahead, sir.
sorry, just gonna say, Councilor Warrington, to your point, I believe that, if we just establish the rule as of now, it's not grandfathered, so we're not gonna cut anybody off right now. It would just start now for term limit. Is that the correct
When your
understanding?
term is up, if you've been there for the X amount of term limits, then you need to step down for a year or whatever.
So there is history involved then. You would count it going backwards. It wouldn't be starting today onwards,
Great question.
Great question.
because then we wouldn't lose everybody all at once.
I think it would need to be forward looking
Yes.
if it was understood.
Councilor Porter looks like he's ready to break out a song. Go ahead.
I'm listening to conversation.
Oh, okay. Actually, so I have a question, and I'm just gonna throw this out of the point of discussion. Because council appoints the boards and commissions anyway, if there are multiple applicants, council could make the decision to say, to weigh that. Would it be better to allow a future council, including ourselves, the option to Councilor Paige's point, to retain enough historical people, but then also to the other point, to bring on new people and let council kind of weigh those two options, because all appointments have to come to council anyway.
That's good.
Would that be a way to meet in the middle, let's say, to where we get new people in, but it doesn't, but it gives council the opportunity to manage the brain drain is better word, but the knowledge loss, I guess we would call it. I don't know, it's just something to think about.
Council David, I would be aligned with that. I think about, you know, let's say 4 years from now, we implement this and, you know, we have a pool of candidates who are not best suited for that board or commission, but we have to appoint someone, right? Or we have to fill that vacancy. So I just don't want to be in such a narrow spot where we're like, well, this candidate has already fulfilled their 2 terms. And now we have to find the next best suited candidate, and they might not be that best suited candidate for the board or commission. So I would be in alignment with some sort of compromise, as Council President Deborah had mentioned. But I think ultimately, you know, we just need to keep a plan A, plan B, and a plan C, and not maybe be so narrow on this specific scenario.
So what does council think?
Counselor Weber, I would tend to keep it clear and not leave it up to interpretation, because I think it would get awkward. I mean, my experience of being on one is that the returning person always gets picked, because it's awkward. They're in the room, you've got to know them. You're not gonna say, you know, to be honest, Joe or Don, you've been there too long. We're gonna go with somebody new. So what would have to happen then is the council would have the name come to us, but we'd have to say, actually, in this case, we want to reconsider and pick in a person that's newer. To me, all that is very awkward. I would just create a rule. If we're nervous about people being off, then I'd be fine saying 3 terms, because 3 terms is a long time, 12 years. I would just say it's 3 years, then we're done.
I would say if you're worried about being awkward, you probably shouldn't be on council, but just kidding. But no, I hear your point.
He's saying it from.
No, I know, I'm just
It's hard on
trying to be.
community
Volunteer
commissions.
position.
Yeah, I mean, because the challenge that is concerning is, can we find enough people with enough experience? But I hear what you're saying.
They just step aside for a year and come back.
I'm vote for, rip the band. Go,
Rubber bands?
rip the Band-Aid.
Oh, really?
Don't make it complicated, just come up with a rule. It's an easy to implement, transparent, and I have a lot of faith in our community will step up and fill the gaps.
Okay, so that's Kevin.
I would share, I would not necessarily, like to have language written in regarding term limits. And again, you know, I've spoken my reasons why, and I think, again, that's part of the responsibility of being on a board or commission. You have to make those tough judgment calls, and you're not always gonna win everyone over. And that goes not just for this dais, but that goes for our other boards and commissions as well. So I think to Councilor Weber's point, yes, it can feel awkward, but also that's part of the role, right? And so at the end of the day, how do we remain fair and unbiased and pick the best suited candidate? And I just think about our council, and I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off as Councilor DeForge shared, but our council, right, we've gone through a lot of learning this last year and a half, 2 years. And I think about like the momentum, right? And how we're picking that momentum back up now, and how this can set a future precedent for boards and commissions if we go through major turnover in the future. And that momentum being lost, ultimately impacting our city and the change that can happen. So I would share, I'm not as concerned about feelings as I am about finding the best suited candidate and not feeling pigeonholed into picking someone that hasn't already served, you know, 2 or 3 consecutive terms.
So, Councilor Warrington.
Also Warrington, I hear everybody's opinion.
Is your mic on?
I think so.
There you go.
We need
Okay.
this- I'm getting texts from people that are saying they cannot hear in you.
Okay, I just have to be 1 inch away.
Yeah,
Yes.
and speak up, please, yeah.
I'm validating everybody's good points here. In my past work experience, I have worked on many, many teams. And I have found that if a team stays together for a long, long time, people get, not motivated. They get, I'm not gonna say lazy, but they don't have the edge anymore. You need to have new people come in with new, fresh ideas. It isn't always right, but then it stirs up more thought. So you can make different decisions than the same old ones you've always had. So, I just wanna, I guess, my vote, I guess, is to enable some term limits so that we get fresh ideas.
Counselor Hagedorn here to back up or add on to what Counselor Warrington said. I think that having a consistent while there is a lot of tribal knowledge that would be potentially at risk, it is good having fresh eyes because then you would also introduce or alleviate biasness potentially too, facing people in the same group, having that fresh set of eyes may also help to neutralize some and opening people up to thinking differently too. So while we are also required to be unbiased, I think that's also an opportunity for that group to also not be biased and have them full on board.
Council ready, but
So,
what's your input?
I just quickly Googled, term limits, in Oregon cities, and it said, even though not required statewide, many cities voluntarily adopt limits such as 2 terms, and then it listed Springfield, Eugene, and Portland. So it's not an unheard of practice or an uncommon one. I like 2 or 3 year term limits.
3 terms. So, okay, so I'll say I concur with Councilor Payton on this, that I think that I would rather leave the council, I'd rather make council do the work, but I understand that the majority is of the opinion, so if you want 2 terms or 3 terms? Given those 2 options, since that seems to be consensus.
I liked Counselor Weber's recommendation for 3 thinking.
Anybody else?
3 terms is a very long time, so it would give everybody an opportunity to really stay as long as they need to and then come back. So 3 seems to be a good number for me.
That would be like for 12 years, really. Potentially, if they were Counselor Haven, if they were appointed, you know, they might be appointed with just 1 year left on the term.
Mayor, if I might, please. Just one quick thing to think about. And I know you're trying to be uniform with all the different boards and commissions, and that would be positive because we have a lot of variance between them in code and practice. If this body does decide 2 consecutive terms only instead of 3, I guess I would just put it out there that I want to distinguish the planning commission because it takes a while and a lot of experience and training to be a good planning commission member. And so if you do choose as a body to recommend or go with a 2-term limit, I would encourage somewhere, some provision that training with, training on Oregon land use law planning needs to be a kind of an explicit requirement to get them up to speed faster. I would just put that out there.
Yeah, so that's kind of an important thing to remember is if we start doing that, we're gonna lose most planning commission and that is very expensive. Because they're gonna have to go through all the land use training. And there's new legislation that's coming out that's gonna make it worse, so I would suggest you consider that as you're making this decision.
Could there also be a hybrid approach? Sorry, Counselor Hagedorn here. But could there be a hybrid approach where the term limits would be applicable for everybody with it with the caveat of planning commission
Well,
for that reason, or I guess that also.
my 2 cents is that if you start making exceptions, we don't want to manage exceptions. If you're gonna do that, then you push that down to the board, but that's just my opinion.
I mean, it's a work session, so we're just discussing, my thought would be the best compromise so far, I think, is 3 terms. But then we could also, before we finalize it, ask for how many people are off if we did that. You know, I'd be curious how many have already fulfilled the 3 terms.
It's on the website, it's a majority of planning commission,
Has been there more than 12 years.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Double check, but yes. And again, this is a very expensive proposal that, so just keep that in mind that we're going to be sending potentially somewhere between 4 and 7 new people to, well, or 6 or whatever, however many people to, training all over again, and we're gonna, that's going to set back the work we've done.
So Counselor Warrington, are we sure we want to do that, or can't we just make it effective a date? And then nobody has to leave right now.
Forward looking.
Yes, forward looking. It doesn't have to be everybody's fired. You have to leave because we made this new rule, but starting today, that's when your term with it begins. So you have 12 years starting today.
Should we like revisit this?
Or you just give it-
Counselor Piven, again, I think that kind of solidifies the point I was trying to make earlier, that tenure matters, and I think that, again, we need to have options. And I think, again, as a council, right, if we, hypothetically, if we did not put forward term limits on the boards and commissions, as a council, we still have that authority to say, hey, we appreciate you applying, we're gonna go with this other applicant instead, right? And it might be someone who is brand new and we want to have a fresh face on that particular board or commission. I do think there is risk, specifically, and I think that was a great call out by City Manager Bill Reed, that there could be risk, with turning over an entire planning commission, right? And thinking about previous precedent, previous scenarios that have come up, and all of the work that's currently being done by the planning commission especially. So again, I would be in favor for not writing in language with a term limit. But again, really maybe adding a line item in there that emphasizes it's at the council's discretion to pick an alternate candidate.
Yeah, it does give the council a lot more flexibility, and it keeps us from. You always want to think about the long-term impact of these decisions, and we ask planning commission to do a whole bunch of work, and then if they term out, even if it's down the road, it's gonna take them years to fix what they're working on right now, just on the code. And so as their terms come up, if we decide, well, we want to swap out one person, that's fine, but keep in mind, planning commission does have a lot more legal than any other board or commission because of their land use work.
Right, you're kind of critical path
Yes,
effectively.
it's something to consider. So we have one more question. So where do we want to go with this? Also, one more thing, I would take out the chairs and chairs of advisory bodies should rotate and cannot serve 2 years in a row. I would suggest that we just say should rotate and remove 2 years in a row. Because I feel like that's something that my opinion is that we don't want to get that deep into. It would be nice if they rotate, but at the same time, sometimes there's reasons. So that's just my 2 cents, but how do we want to handle this term limits thing? We need to get to the next question. Got it there.
Counselor Warrington, I'm just gonna say, I would vote for a term limit.
Thank you.
Starting today or whenever. Starting when this is effective.
Council Piven, I would say I would not be in favor of a term limit, but clear language that leaves it up to council discretion to bring in fresh faces or continue.
Councilor Ford.
still in the, would recommend term limits and I'd sign up for the compromise of 3.
Councilor Hagan,
I'm leaning towards Counselor Haven's recommendation.
Councilor Rennie.
I'm leaning towards 3 term limits. And I don't know if we can run this through or run it past the attorney or something, but when you want clear and objective, that's what this is to establish. And so I don't know if bylaws could be written into, somehow to change this a little bit or what that it's hard with the planning commission, but also not getting, I mean, if other people are doing it, other cities are doing 2-term limit, then it's doable.
Councilor Weber.
Counselor Weber, I could live with either decision. I think we need a little more information, like the planning commission especially. I think that's a very fair question. It takes so long to understand what you're doing. How many of them would we be kicking off if we did this? So I'm open. I think we need a little more conversation to finalize this, but I could go either way with more information.
So we will, at this point, because we don't have clear, we're going to strike that because you have 3 to 3 and then 1 undecided. So let's strike the language for now. We'll bring it back in a future conversation if that comes up. And then final question, is communication and staff liaison framework appropriate?
Mayor, if I
Oh,
might,
sorry, yes.
technically, city council isn't supposed to make any decisions in a work session. And so what we can do is just simply ask Emily to review
That'll work.
both,
Okay.
both ways.
There we go.
And then when the time comes to bring this forward and adopting or however, I think this will end up having to be adopted in chunks because you've got some ordinances here
Yeah.
and resolutions there.
Okay.
But let's
We'll put it,
note that we
Yeah.
need both alternatives
Okay,
reviewed
that's fair.
because it was split.
right, yeah. So we'll put both forward to Emily and then we'll make a decision in council. Thank you for that. That's good. Thank you. Okay, so is communication and staff liaison framework agreed? I think we touched on some of this. Is there anything else that we need to cover? And Councilor Redding, was there something specific here other than just what we talked about already?
Yeah, there's several highlighted thoughts throughout that I think we're gonna run out of time there. Under where we were working, there's residency requirements, since that's kind of come up of late. 5 of the 7 members must live within the city limits. Some groups may allow equal to or less than 2 members of rural 97133 residents on the board to promote equity and inclusivity. Or residency, so the other statement in red is, or just write, residency requirements for each advisory board are established by ordinance or resolution and are described in appendix A. I think that's there just so we can look back at it. Might have been one that I intended to get to and did not.
No, that's fine. Does anybody have any input on that? Okay. Let's leave both and we'll have Emily review and back to us maybe.
Okay, you want me to just keep
Yeah,
chugging along unless someone has something?
Yeah.
So page 17 of 73 of the agenda document or page 14 of this document is email communication. It just kind of came up amongst the 3 of us that besides info@northplains.gov, there's no way for people to really reach out to certain members of these advisory bodies. And some other cities had like drop-down menus. If you went to advisory bodies and you would say, okay, I want to speak with Commissioner King, and there's a drop-down menu, you can choose the name. How do we want to do easier communication?
so they should really not be doing that. They should be coming to make public comment in order to not get us in legal trouble.
Okay,
That'd be the preferred method, or they can go knock on Commissioner King's door. Sure you'd love that. Just kidding, just kidding. Don't
Okay,
do
so
that.
we will strike the email.
I mean, that's my opinion. I know I'm saying that's my opinion. Like, what does everybody else think? I was offering up one person's. But I like you to come to public comment, to boards and commissions.
Council Pittman, I would echo what Council President Del had mentioned. I love the idea of a drop-down menu, but I do think our city website clearly defines who the chair of each committee is with their contact information.
No, there is no contact. That's, it just says Stuart King is chair, but there's no email or, and obviously no phone.
Cause that's, yeah, cause they don't have a city.
Yeah, so that's why I was kind of wondering, and this might be outside of this conversation, is email, but it sounds like legally, it's
Well,
best to just encourage public comment.
It's
and I
not,
don't
it just
disagree.
keeps us away from a potential line that I could foresee getting us in trouble. And
Mhm. No,
there's
I,
more legislation coming out, but I just would like to err on the side of being as away from that legal line as possible if we could. That's just my opinion.
And this our city required have any recommendations on
Counselor Hagedorn, does our city recorder have any recommendations on this as a best practice?
Well, I can tell you after the planning commission meeting on Wednesday that they. None of them really want their personal email addresses out to the public. In the past, even with counselors, we've always encouraged people to contact city staff. And give us their name, email address, phone number, and we. Usually me, I contact the board member, the counselor. That's why you guys don't have cell phones. That's, you know, you have city email addresses. No other boards and commissions do. They're not elected officials. That's not a normal policy.
Do you so you forward though if somebody asked?
Yes, I don't give out, I do not give out anyone's personal email
No,
address or phone number or anything. I take whoever whoever's they want to reach. I say, give me your name, your email, your phone number, and I will forward it to Chair King and he can contact you direct.
Yeah,
Yes.
Counselor Weber, so I was just wondering if we put that on the website somewhere that if you wanted to reach out to a commission, you would do that through Lori, or do we just stay away from that?
I think it would be my opinion.
Stay away from it.
My opinion is it's better to push them down the public comment route, not force, but push them down that, because that would be the recommendation from most of the other mayors that have been on, I've been on a thread with about this for some odd reason.
Okay,
That basically the suggestion from most of the mayors is their cities push everything to public comments, that way it's on the record and there's no question of equity or any other concerns. But that's just, oh, and we need to adjourn, sorry, I just realized, so. Great job, counselors, thank you for the discussion, and we will send this to Emily for review, and we'll highlight a couple things we want double checked, and then we will vote on this at some point in the future. With that, we're adjourned at 7:01. And we'll start city council.